But I'm ready, guys. We live right now. This is my first time doing a married. I think I want to call it married to the money, bro. How that sound?
I like it.
You like it?
Only one person married.
Yeah. Hey,
That's why
listen.
y'all married to
Everybody
the money.
dedicated.
Listen, married to the money, presented by Black Millionaires. What's up, guys? James Hill, CEO of Black Millionaires. So I got a new addition we got going on. It's called Married to the Money. So I'm gonna go around and let everybody introduce themselves, what they do. So pretty much what it is every city I stop in, I want to make sure I sit down with a group of young professionals and just get their opinions and their thoughts on taboo money conversations in our community. Because if we don't have these conversations, all the generational wealth tweets and everything that's going on that's popular right now, it's not going to matter if we're not actually planning and doing things that actually increase our net worth. So I'll start with the ladies first. So you can go ahead.
Okay. So I'm Jasmine. I am a new grad physician assistant. I practice in family medicine and internal medicine in Flint, Michigan. And I know Cliff, and I'm
Okay.
excited to be here.
Okay.
I am Andrea Cook. I am a realtor. I've been a realtor for about 4 years now, so I'm a top producing agent with my brokerage. I am married, so married to the money, that's a good one. And, I'm excited to be here. I know Clift as well, and I follow you guys on Instagram, so I'm excited for it.
All right.
Cool. My name is Clift Roach. Born and raised Detroit, Michigan, and I run a wealth management practice here, based out of Detroit, working with families all over the country, insurance and investment planning. So my perspective is coming from the side of, talking to people about money all day. So it should be interesting.
Okay, let's get it. So, I got one of my best friends. Her name is Shantanique, right? So we always have conversations about, and she always like left field, right? She always left field. So one of the things she talked about is before she would ever even get married to somebody, she said she need to see like 2 years of your bank account, your bank statements, tax returns, credit score, right? And it sounds crazy, but if you think about it, 50% of marriages and in the divorce because of money problems, right? So that may not save a bunch of marriages, but it will stop a bunch of bad marriages, right? So with you being married, Andrea, we can come to you first. What are some conversations that you and your spouse had prior to tying the knot that you think benefited you guys financially, where you guys are at now?
So we definitely talked about finances before getting married. People think it's crazy, but we looked at each other's credit report. He's in banking, so of course for him, he needs to know what he's getting himself into. But same thing for me. For us, we wanted to know like what we were getting ourselves into financially, but also we needed to understand where each other was at as far as like where are you at right now, but what are your goals and aspirations when it comes to money? What do you think about money? So we had those conversations up front, so we're good now.
Okay, that's what's up. Now, Cliff, you meet a young lady. She's beautiful. But she says she need to see your credit score and your credit report before, y'all go on that first date. What you saying?
Before the first date?
Yeah,
Or
first
before
date.
we tied a
No,
knot?
this wasn't before the first date for us. We were in a relationship by this time.
All right, well, 6 months into the relationship, she needs to see that credit score.
Is that too soon still? 6 months? Y'all?
I think it depends on the people.
Okay.
I think it depends on your age, too, because,
Yeah.
the older
Like, we
you-
30, baby.
Yeah, we need to move fast. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
fair. Yeah, I mean, the older you get, right, and you know that you're working on something serious, if it's long term, it's like, okay, that's fair, right? Because me personally, I'm not going to spend too much time entertaining a young lady, and I have no clue what her financial picture looks like. One, because it's what I do for a career, but also I know that I'm not going to work out well with a partner who just does not care about it. So I'm going to be curious to know what she got going too. So I'm not upset with her wanting to know, my financial circumstance looks like if we think we're going to build an empire together, right? You got to know what you're coming to the table with.
Yeah, so I'm in a relationship, right? So I don't think we had a conversation like, hey, let's sit down and do this. It just was natural, right? We was just talking about goals and things like that. And we want to buy a house and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, in order to buy a house, you need, your credit right, your income right, your assets right. You need all these things, your debt to income ratio. So it's just natural. It was like a conversation. I was like, have you checked your credit in the last so-and-so? And she was like, no, I haven't. I'm like, all right, well, let's check it right now. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And we went on there and it's like, okay, this is like, if we want to buy a house, this is where both of our credit scores need to be at. So it's some things that I was lacking on that I'm like, I was a banker. How am I lacking on this, right? So I started putting some things in place. He started putting some things in place, and we ready to buy a house right now, even though we're not about to. But it was a natural conversation for both of us. I don't know if it was uncomfortable for her, but it was natural for me because I used to look at 20 credit scores a day as a banker. So, pulling up somebody's credit score that I was dating, that wasn't really a red flag for me, but I don't know.
See, for us, we're very competitive. So, like, if my husband have a 740 credit score, I'm like, oh, no, mine got to be higher than that. So, like, we push each other to be better, but, in turn, it makes us better together as well. So,
Now, Jasmine, are you asking for the credit report, tax return? What do you need?
I
people be tripping, man. So,
to be honest, I like the way you said it. Like, it happens naturally, and that goes into, like, I can tell, like, bro, he just bought this, and I know that bill wasn't paid. So, like, somebody who typically put, like, wants before needs or priorities, like, sometimes I have been wrong about people like, oh, okay, you actually doing good, and sometimes I'm like, wow, you find, like, so, I will admit that there has been some times where I was wrong about somebody, but, like, for the most part, you can kind of, if you pay attention intentionally, you can kind of tell how, based on someone's spending habits and just their overall views on money. Like, if somebody say, no, I don't do credit cards, I don't trust those, pretty much they probably don't have no credit. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
or they bad
or how they talk about, like, nah, I'd rather finance, or nah, I want to buy a car straight out with all cash.
Yeah.
They ain't got no credit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's how I kind of, like, I can kind of assess that way. But my current relationship, we definitely talk about money a lot, talk about our goals. And that is important.
So when did that conversation first start? Because I said the first day, and y'all like,
Yeah,
whoa,
no.
hold on, you can't,
Yeah.
you never know.
Ours was kind of unique in a way because, like, he is in a field where you can kind of tell, like, he comes from a family history of, like, franchise. Like, I kind of knew he was, like, in money already.
Right, he already
so
had the
like that,
conversation going.
yeah. So that was our, like I said, going back to, like, if you pay attention. But, like, it was really around New Year's, like, when we talking about, like, our goals and, like, okay, so what's your financial goals this year? And then, like, that kind of came up, and then more importantly, we just figure out where we can help each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have, like, for my age, I have the long credit history. So, like, okay,
Right.
if you need that, then boom. And if you got the capital, then boom. Like, that's kind of how we move.
Now it was this story. I posted it up on my Instagram, and it went viral. It was a young lady, right? Okay, they were 27 and 28. She come from a family of real estate investors and things like that. So you can you would enjoy this. But here's where the plot twist went. Her and her boyfriend was planning to buy a house, but they had some credit issues. I don't know which one of them was it, but they had some credit issues. So they needed to build up their credit, so it's going to take them about a year or two. Now, she owned a property that she inherited from her family, right? And she didn't tell him she owned the property. So she like, well, I know it's a nice rental over here on the south side. We can go live in there. And they started moving in there, and they were splitting the rent in half, right? No, he was paying he was paying the rent. He was paying everything, right? But he was paying her.
Mm-hmm.
And she had like a property management company, and it was funneling back to her income. And she told him, like, after like 3 or 4 years, and then they ended up like breaking up, right? So a lot of people was talking about you can't trust her, she's not trustworthy. But honestly, how do you know if you own real estate if you never ask? So I'm like, it's kind of his fault if he never asked her, like, what do you own, what's your goals, this, that, and the third. Y'all would never get to the real estate owning aspect, right? So what would you say, being in real estate, like, is that a red flag? Like, if your husband owned a piece of property that y'all was staying in and for 2 years, and then it just comes up in a conversation that y'all been paying him rent, and you thinking, that y'all paying the landlord, basically.
Well, number one, there's a lot of ways to find out who owns property. So, yeah, he could have done his research. But to me, like, if my husband owned property that I didn't know about in the very beginning, I wouldn't trip about it. Because I don't know you like that. Like, we're dating. We're getting to know each other. But if we're in a committed relationship and we're, going somewhere, then, yes, I do expect to know about it. I think if she's intentionally trying to keep it from him or hide it from him, then, yes, those are red flags.
I actually have a different opinion about that though. Like sometimes you gotta know your partner. A lot of y'all move prideful, right? So he did this for 3 years, paid the rent for 3 years all by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they would have moved in that house if he knew that was hers? You know what I'm saying? Like, would he wouldn't like, well, shoot, if this your house, why we gotta pay it?
Yeah,
like,
I ain't got to pay no rent
you know
at
what
all.
I'm saying?
Right.
Like, sometimes you gotta know who you dealing with, and like, if she felt like, listen, I know we gotta build our credit. If I tell him this, he's not going to be open to moving, and this is really the best idea, the best like plan for us right now. So she's wrong probably for not being as transparent, but like people got to also do some self reflection too. Like a lot of men will do like y'all sometimes prefer to struggle versus like leaning on your partner for that help, even if it's financially, right? So like he probably would have found a more expensive property to rent out or stay or took longer to build that credit just to say he wasn't giving her the money. And then like the grand scheme of things, I'm pretty sure the money he paid for things will probably funnel back to their relationship anyway. She probably, if she was the breadwinner, I'm sorry, like, it probably came back like, she probably paid for a trip for them or something, or
Right.
like it came back in one way or another if that was the money she used to contribute to the household. So to me, he can probably be mad at lying, but he can't be mad at like that. Like,
Well, is it a lie though if she just never disclosed it? Is that a lie?
I mean, I feel like that is something like
It's withholding the truth.
it's definitely something like you like. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Like this is my place. But if now it depends on why she withheld it, right? So if she withheld it because she knew if he knew he wouldn't have agreed to that plan, and she know that's what's best for them, then okay, I'm doing what's best for us. And
Now,
sometimes honesty hurts.
So you paying the rent for 2 years with a chick that you think you about to, you ring shopping in your head. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be the one, and you find out that she owns the property that you've been paying all the rent in. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'm struggling with the concept of it because how am I living with you all this time and I don't know that you own property? Now, if I asked you and you lied about it, that's different, right? But me never inquiring is kind of like, why am I not inquiring? Because if I'm gonna build a long-term relationship with you, right? If we're working towards marriage, like I assume at some point, okay, we know what each other do for work. Like I should know that you are, a property owner, and have some idea, especially if your family is really affluent, right? And they're doing these things as well. It's like, how am I missing this? Like, how am I overlooking this and never asking? So, I mean, I don't want to say it's partially his fault for never inquiring that deep. And like you said, it might just be a pride thing. Like he's not thinking that she's doing well enough to be owning this property and collecting rent. So he's just assuming that that's not the case. But for me, it's just like, I don't know how you miss that. Like, how do you not have that conversation?
Now, I mean, let's stick with the pride thing, right? We both earn high incomes, especially for our age, right? Would you date a young lady that earns 3 times more than you?
Absolutely.
He said it with no hesitation.
Well, I don't know, because some people be tripping.
Easier said, y'all say that.
No, I'm gonna be honest.
Y'all
I
say that?
will because like I consult with my girl right now, and I can see where she going, and like I don't want a high income. I want assets, right? So once my income gets to where I need it to be to live everywhere I want to live, to buy the stuff, finance this, that, and the third, I don't really need like a high W-2 income from my company, right? So she's a hairstylist though, so all her income comes directly to her. So she might end up making more than me in terms of like the
Like
amount
capital,
of that, in terms of like the liquid cash.
Mhm.
I'm using my money in my business to go out and buy things, right? Long term, right? So, if I make, let's say I pay myself $80,000 a year in salary, right? And she make 300 as a hairstylist, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I'm putting my money to buy things and stuff like that. So I guess it get kind of weird to some people, but I consult with her on her business and I'll push her so she can continue to grow her business. But everybody not like that. Like, let's be honest. Like,
No,
a lot of
you're 100%.
guys.
Thank you.
Now,
Well,
I also
let's
think
be
it
honest.
changes when you get married sometimes. So you can start off where one person is making more than the other, but then things can change. So, me and my husband had that conversation ahead of time. Like, hey, my goal is to make more than you one day. He's like, all right, cool. Like, we'll see. You know what I mean? But it's like, at the end of the year, when it's tax time, we say, oh, we made X amount. It's not like you made this and I made this. So, like, for me, I don't care how much he made. I don't care how much I made because it's all in one pot, even though we earned it separately.
Now, how do you divide that up, though? Like, because a lot of times when people say, well, you're married, you are one, but you still want to stay an individual. So how do you stay an individual when you combine in your finances?
So we stay individuals by having individual goals. Every year we sit down on our anniversary and New Year's and we talk about like what our goals are, you know, for our marriage, what our goals are, like different things that we want to accomplish. And of course, one of the big things is finances. So we might say, okay, this year, you know, we want to buy another investment property or we want to buy a flip or whatever the case is. So we have stuff that we want to do together, but then we also talk about our financial goals separate from each other because I think it's very big on having stuff that's separate from your partner that you can do on your own, still be an individual, but y'all can still work together and root for each other while you're doing it.
Exactly.
No, so you are in a career field where you are able to earn a good living, right? So what's the conversation like when you talking to a guy or when you previously was talking to a guy and you earn, let's say, twice as much as him?
Yeah, like, first of all, you got to, like, people in my career, entry level is 6 figures automatically.
Right.
So, like, first year out of, you know, I'm I'm only in my first year, so I'm experiencing it now, but I had always been knowing that this was going to be, like, a kind of like a guarantee in a way. In my experiences, and I know mine may be different, but I think a lot of high-earning women, especially young, my age, can kind of attest to this is, in my experience, men like the idea of you, right? They like, wow, she's in medicine.
Yeah.
She's 6 figures. Not only she got money, but she know how to work it. You know what I'm saying? But then, that's why I brought up pride. A lot of men, their pride let them, like, they start kind of moving insecurely. Like, it turns from, wow, she's making a lot of money. It's like, dang, she's making more than me. Like, dang, like, and once a man starts putting that, and instead of focusing on like what can I contribute to this, they focus on what they don't have, and that makes grinds my gears because it's like I'm dating you, knowing all of that, and I'm still dating you. So like, if you're gonna make it the forefront of your, and then people don't realize, and they can do it subconsciously, their actions they either self-sabotage, they start self-sabotaging, or find that one area where they may feel stronger in, and then just start overemphasizing that to kind of down the woman or belittle the woman. So that's why I feel like a lot of strong-head black women have a hard time finding a suitable partner, is because they're either always like, a lot of women don't really have the luxury of saying, I want an equally yoked partner, because a lot of men say, well, dang, just be happy with the man who makes 30 grand, 40 grand. But it's like, well, when we do that, then they start acting an ass. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but high earning men they have the choice. If they want arm candy, they can have arm candy who don't do nothing. Right. If they want an equally yoked hustler, like men, y'all don't get questioned for the type of partner y'all look for. Women do. And then sometimes it's either like, you need to be settling. Like, you reaching 35, 40, and you want families, you need to be settling. You need to take what you can get. Or it's like, you know, when you do get that, it's like, you need to, like, be happy. So I kind of can see how women who make a lot of money struggle.
See, my thing is, I think, like, we talked about this offline, but money is relative, right? So I feel like once you start making a certain amount of money, other things start to matter more than the amount of money you make. So if you at 6 figures and your spouse is making, let's say, 70 or 80, y'all kind of close, right? But the type of person who makes 30,000 and the type of person who makes 100,000, it's different restaurants y'all can attend.
Yeah.
Like, it's
different mindsets,
different
conversations.
Like you might want an Audi. This person like, well, I only can get that, you know, that Ford Tour, so I only can get that. You know what I mean? So it's like y'all having different conversations. But if I make 70 and she make, you know, 110, it's a $40,000 gap. But I still can acquire the things that she can acquire. So I guess we can have we can have a conversation. But the average household only makes, like, average is like 60,000.
I think it's lower.
It might. Last time I looked, it was 60.
Yeah, it's
like
around
a house,
60.
a household.
2 income.
Yeah, a house. The household.
Yeah,
not individually. Not individually.
But no, to Jasmine's point earlier, I think a lot of men naturally feel like providing and protecting is all they bring to the table,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I don't bring in the most money, if I'm not the one who's responsible for the rent, if I'm not taking care of those things, I feel out of place, right? So now it's get to acting the right
Mm-hmm.
because it's like I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
else I can do. Like I don't know what other position or part I play in this relationship because I don't get to call the shots because I'm not the breadwinner. I'm not paying the bills. I don't get
But
to
see,
say
that's
so.
self-inflicted. Like,
Yeah.
like that's self-inflicted because have you talked to your like? Now it's a difference when you date a woman who makes more and then like you won't never pay for nothing, man. Like I'm always like who reminds you that she's the breadwinner. But when I say me and like my other PA friends who also around my same age, when we say, bro, we do not make it a big deal because first of all, I gotta understand that this is a career. Not everyone don't have a career where entry level. Like
Yeah.
entry level is 6 figures.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the first contract I ever signed was,
Like-
you know what I'm saying? Like instantly, how much this gonna be in the check? You know, so people gotta it's really your partner. You know, you gotta find a partner where if you say you want a high earning woman, she also has to be smart and understanding enough to know that money, like, and that's what I mean by y'all focus on what y'all don't have. Like, instead of you focusing on like, oh, okay, providing protection is equal to money. Okay, I just told y'all I had a medicine job, so that means most of my time I'm like thinking 24/7. So when I get home from work, you can contribute to our relationship in other ways, like emotional support or having dinner. But that goes back to the pride thing. A man can't come to terms with having food on the table.
I ain't cooking.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Like,
Men don't know what emotional support
I definitely
is,
agree
though.
with it comes to insecurities because if my husband is just killing it and he's making all this money, that's pushing me to be better. But on the same side, it needs to be the same thing for my husband. Like, if I got a month where I'm just killing it, he like, all right, go ahead. But you better believe in the back of his mind, he like, oh, I got to go harder. Like, you know what I mean?
But
So,
if her husband would respond like, dang, man, like,
Yeah,
I guess
no.
that means like you gonna find somebody that makes more than me. And I'm already anticipating you leaving me, so let me start doing the things that's going to push you to do that anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what I've
I'm
experienced in the
gonna be
past.
honest. I'm not cooking, so
But why? Why?
Well,
some of the best
here's my
chefs
thing.
are men, though.
But here's my
Why?
thing. Here's my thing with I like I would rather both of us have an income to where we can pay somebody to prepare the food. I would rather do that.
So that's the
I
pride. That's
understand.
the pride I was talking
No,
about.
it ain't
Like,
even
I
about the
understand
pride.
wanting a chef, but where you are right now, why can't you cook?
that's the
Well,
pride.
I'm gonna be honest. Listen,
He picking the hardest way, the most.
I'm gonna be honest. So when I was single, and I had to cook for myself, I cook a certain way. I cook the same thing until I don't want it no more. Right, and that's not gonna fly with with my girl. Like if I wanted a chicken salad, I eat the chicken salad Monday through Friday, and then I'm like, well, I don't want chicken salad no more. I want this, right? So that's just how I am, right? So when it came to like we living together and all that other type of stuff, I wanted her to actually pursue her dreams and go hard on what she was doing. She's an entrepreneur as well. So like we get home, we ain't got nothing to eat, so now we eating out all the time, which is unhealthy. So I'm like, okay, we really gotta try to cook, and naturally she's the one that try to cook, but now her career is suffering because she's trying to cook. So what I said is, listen, I'm not gonna cook. So
Why?
why
Though?
I
He
like
just
to.
told you why, because he gonna make the
He gonna
same
make the
thing
same
every
thing.
night.
I'm gonna make the same thing every night. So I'm
So
not.
now that you know
but-
that you do that, why not just switch
Why,
it up?
yeah, why? And that goes back
See,
to the
that it
compromise.
takes too much. No, it takes too much mental energy to
But-
just keep thinking about what I
does.
gotta
I'm
cook.
anti-grocery store.
But listen,
I'm-
but do y'all
no.
see how that goes back to when the woman didn't disclose that she was owning that property? Y'all will pick a alternative that costs more money.
It actually. So
You don't know
listen,
that because you didn't.
No, I ran in we don't prepare food right now. Like we have somebody who prepared, and like she's like a up and coming chef and this, that, and the third. So she got her own business. So when I ran the numbers on how much it cost, because basically the service she provided, we don't have to grocery shop, we don't have to do none of that. She sent a menu and we pick the meals and this, that, and the third.
How much can you disclose how much y'all pay?
Yeah, so it's like 500 for I think it's like no 478 for three serving for 4 days of food. I don't know how many servings that is. For like
so
4
4 days
like
of
breakfast, lunch, dinner.
So it's lunch and dinner. It's not breakfast. We still gotta make breakfast.
So
For
8
the month.
meals. So $478 for 8 meals.
For the month or per week?
That's per week.
Oh, okay.
That is a 16. Let's
But
go $1,800.
you got to think about it. We're not
Is it
grocery
just y'all
shopping.
two?
It's us two. We're not
Okay.
grocery shopping.
Grocery shopping for 2 people. Groceries not going to cost $1,800. I'm telling you
It's-
that.
yes,
now.
it-
I'm telling you that. now.
I buy all like
Oh, like
Organic
organics
stuff.
and
yeah,
stuff.
and my stuff be fresh. So like I can't have it sitting out for 3 weeks.
So I
like,
grocery shop once a week, but
yeah, we grocery
But you
shop
grocery
once a
shop for
week.
3 people, right?
yeah,
Or-
but
Mm.
the math ain't math.
So
But that's what I'm
here's
saying.
the thing.
Men gonna take
Hold
the
on, no,
most
right, right.
expensive route.
His is about convenience.
It
So
is
he's
convenience.
also paying more for
Convenience too. We walking in, getting food, walking out. So it costs. I mean, it takes us 5 minutes to
That's
get
fair.
a meal instead of.
But your math ain't mathing though.
Yeah,
Because
Why you say
what
that?
numbers did
For
you
somebody,
run?
you just talked about how you like to assets and you want to think about long term. That $1,800, you would.
No, but you got
Can
to
I-
think about.
can I
Hold on,
follow
hold
up
on,
on
hold
his
on.
point?
Okay, okay,
Hold on.
sorry,
Let me.
sorry.
So she's a hairstylist. So the 2 hours it takes her to prepare food, she could have made $500.
Exactly.
I'm a influencer, media, all that. So the 2 hours it'll take me to do that, I can just get online and sell some products, and we'll make that money. So it's like
It's opportunity cost.
The opportunity cost. It may seem like a lot,
Opportunity though, like
and then the mental energy. So now we're going on more dates. We're having a better relationship because she's not in there cooking and doing all that. Because I'm not going to do it. So naturally, she got to do it, right? So it makes like the money. It sounds like, oh, that's a lot. Like that, the math ain't
Save
mathing.
in the long run.
But the other things, like
I guess you know what
the
I
other
agree. 'cause
things
I
make
Like I
sense.
said, you pay for convenience, which is
Yeah.
fine, but I don't spend $500 a week at the grocery store.
But he's buying his time back.
No, I understand it, but when he
Yeah.
said he ran the numbers,
But-
when I'm thinking you running the numbers, I'm thinking you talking about how much
Comparison
you would spend
to grocery
yeah,
store.
Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
no.
Now, if you add in everything else,
Opportunity.
absolutely. Because if I could show one extra house and close on one extra deal,
Exactly.
no problem. You know
Right.
what I mean? So when you add that stuff into it, it makes sense.
And that makes sense for now, right? When you talk about family and things like that, that would be something y'all have to adjust. But I just want to just continue.
why would
to
we have to adjust it with family? We should just.
That's more meals, more money, and then at that point, sometimes the cost may outweigh that opportunity cost you're talking about, right? Because now you're like taking care of the kids and like daycare, things like that. But I want to. I mean, I outsource too. Like I pay for my laundry to get like washed and folded. But
That's the same thing, though.
But it's all about convenience.
That's
So
the
what's
same
important
but
to you?
is if it ever comes to the point where the cost of doing that is outweighing the benefits, I'm definitely and it's also not. It's also I'm not deciding to do that because I don't believe in like gender roles. Like you're not cooking because you.
I know it ain't got
comes
nothing
down
to do.
gender roles
No,
for
it
me.
ain't got nothing to do
Pride.
with gender roles.
Yes,
I don't
it
think it has
does.
nothing. It's just me. Listen,
So
I
what y'all
can
do
take.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
We go out on date night.
Every 3 days.
Well, so the food
'Cause
lasts.
have you factored that in too?
The food lasts about. I might be butchering this because the food lasts about 5 days. And then Saturday and Sunday we go out for
See,
for
I'm a
dates and
big
stuff
mom
like
too,
that.
so I mean I pay for meal prep services too, and it didn't make sense because I was eating between them because like they give you they give you like workout like servings, you know what I'm saying?
Child,
So,
that's what I need.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm still spending money because like I'm eating between, or like if my friend want to go out that evening. This meal in my refrigerator, so now I'm like, should I eat the meal or should I go out?
So like the money, okay, you got to think about this. So we were also spending a lot of money on fast food, which it costs more and it's not healthy. So now we're eating healthier food, and that cost is gone. We don't have to spend that money now. So when I took all those things out, it actually like I'm not saving money, but I'm breaking even pretty much on all the money that I would have spent, and I'm getting probably 3-4 hours of her time back.
I got a question. Speaking on this line, so let's say you made $40K and your wife made 90, 100,000, right? You made $40K. You was a teacher. I don't know.
Right.
And y'all have 2 kids and daycare, right?
Right.
Daycare cost for the year 20,000. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
That's about right.
That's about
That's
right.
right.
That's about right.
If y'all sit down one day and look at the finances and she says, "Bae, quit your job because it makes more sense for you to stay home with the kids and we cut the daycare bill, quit your job, because I'd rather you like be a stay-at-home dad and this cut out an expense for us, and we can keep more of like my $90K, or like we cut your bill in half, we cut your salary in half just off daycare alone. Right. Would you do that?
See, here's the thing. See, hold on. Here's the thing. Hold on.
But I want you to think about the process of like putting your pride aside and assuming what will be a mother role for the betterment of a family.
No, so here's the thing. So the way I make money is so innovative. It's like I wouldn't have to
out of it though. Like
if I was an actual teacher.
If you were a teacher, right? You were a teacher and you made a salary to the point where half your salary is gone to taking care of the kids.
I'm doing something virtual. I'm doing some type of cold call.
Some people don't know how.
I'm doing something. Email marketing, drop shipping. I'm bringing some money.
But do you realize though, like instead of you just realizing I'm contributing, like it's not money I'm contributing, but it's a bill that I'm taking out of our expenses.
Yeah, I understand the math. Yeah, that makes sense.
But like, you see how you still like you gonna avoid?
No, I just think, just me personally, I don't think you have to make money like just with labor. Like you don't have to make money that way. So there's so many other ways. And then as a man,
he's too dynamic of a thinker.
Yeah,
no. As a man, as a man.
I'm Daddy Daycare. Call me Eddie Murphy. What?
No, I'm just saying. As a man, listen.
You can even listen. My neighbor.
I be watching my little nieces. I don't have kids, but I be watching and I grew up with a lot of like cousins and nieces and nephews, and we basically raised them. Like they used to always be around us and stuff. But the way I watch kids is, I put some toys right there and just let them run and play until they get tired, so I can still be productive and conduct a Zoom meeting or something in the baby right
you just do
but
everything.
You're thinking about your current lifestyle, like what you
I'm
can
talking
currently
about.
do.
Are you willing to set aside the pride and assume a opposite gender role for the betterment of if that works for y'all? Like, listen, it does not make sense for you to work and spend 40 hours a week at a job that taking care of the kids is taking half our salary.
So here's the thing. I don't think. Like even this flip it. Like even if I made the 100 and she made the 40, and it's like, okay, it makes more sense for you to be home. This, that, and the third.
You would have no problem. You expect her to do it with no issue. I just think gender roles.
I just think women. I think women are more natural, and like it'll be a real learning curve. And I'd be on the phone with her trying to get help with the baby anyway. So I think I would need her help. And I would be very inefficient in that area. So,
why do you think? Would you be willing to try?
Yeah, I'll try, but I'm like I said,
you focus, but you gonna be focused.
But he's
on
already
chicken.
focusing on the fact that he's like, it ain't gonna work.
Exactly.
I would say this. It depends on how old the kids is. From zero to about.
Obviously, they're young because
from
they
zero
can't
to about
go to school.
4.
They're not going to
from
school.
Zero to about
daycare,
if they're in daycare age, they're young.
I can watch some kids from like 4 and up. I'm good. Like,
but they're in school now, so that's not a factor.
We're going to basketball games. We're going everywhere.
That's not a factor no more because they're in school. They're school age now. But what I wanted you to think about was like how y'all, like I said, that goes back to why I understand why that woman may have did it. Y'all will take the hardest route just to say your girl not, you know what I'm saying, or you not depending on your girl more, and that's just not efficient to me.
I'm not. Retire me. I will stay home.
I also think it comes down to your spouse
change the
being happy,
diaper,
though. Like,
play with the rattle.
You can't say, okay, I want you to stay at home. Like, you also have to think about how your spouse feels about it. Like, I know that I could not be a full-time stay-at-home mom. Just, I'd be stressed out more being at home. Like, oh my God, I got to do everything under the sun instead of me being able to be out with my clients and doing different stuff and being a wife and a mother. So I think it also comes down to, is your spouse going to be happy in that role instead of it being,
I got a solution.
What is it?
Listen, I'm an influencer, so I'm going to make a whole YouTube, Instagram about being a stay-at-home dad. And I'm going to make money. I'm going to make money with my kids. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
now
you're still talking about how you're going to make money while doing that. I'm just saying, are you willing to stop working because it makes financial sense for your family? Like, it makes personal sense.
Yeah. So me personally, when I have a child, I don't want to I want my career and my finances to be so in order to where when she have the baby, the first 6 months, like we ain't really got to. Neither of us have to work. So it's not that I don't want to stay at home with the kids. It's just I know I would need so much help.
Okay, so let's say within that 6-month time frame, she says, okay, well, I'm ready. Like, honestly, I was on maternity leave after I had my baby. I was ready to go back. I needed adult interaction because I was at home with the baby all the time. He was at work. So what if she decides, you can still take the 6 months off, but I'm going to go back to work after 2 months. What you doing?
Listen, I'm going to need some help in there. So
he going back to work because he like, nah, it's the man
like,
thing.
so it's time for us to go back.
But I just want y'all to see how like men don't see like that is a contribution to the household. We saving $20,000, but y'all don't see it
I think
that
they
way.
did the calculations on a mother, like being a mother, and it's like a $45,000-$50,000 a year job.
It's
probably more than that.
Yeah,
it's way
that was
more
like
than
the
that.
just based on like where you stay at and stuff like that. Like if you stay in New
Yeah.
York, obviously it's going to be a lot higher because cost of living and stuff.
My hats go off to all stay-at-home parents. I could not.
But
do
that is a contribution to the family that a lot of men don't consider as a contribution, but it is. But I think y'all pride prevent y'all from seeing that. I'm glad Cliff said he's staying at home.
He over here saying that, but I'm telling you, he could be.
A lot. That goes back to y'all like the idea of high earning women, but when it comes to actually
I like high earning women for sure. I don't want my woman.
But that's also a conversation that you have before getting married, or before hopefully potentially having kids. Like, all right, we have kids. Like, what will life look like? I think that's a conversation that you need to have ahead of time.
Like, I personally don't I don't care about like we go out to eat. Oh, I gotta pay. She gotta. I don't care about that. I just want to have enough money to be able to do what we want to do. So
a lot of men say I want a high earning women. I don't think y'all lie about that, but like it's almost like I want a successful woman, but not to the point. Not more than me.
Me personally, I wouldn't care if my girl.
I think it all comes down to the man being secure with himself.
I'm secure with myself, and I'm gonna say this: a lot of men aren't secure in their career field and what they do. So I would say it might be it was a tougher conversation when I was 22 and I was broke in college, already at, Saginaw. That's a different conversation because it's like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. And I graduated with a communications degree, so I didn't have a 6-figure job laid out for me. I had to literally create my own income. So it's like, if it was up to me, I would have been a journalist at some news station making $30,000 a year. And the woman that make $100,000 would have seemed out of reach to me. Yeah. So like me personally, I just like.
But when you say seem out of reach, if you get her though, like why?
He probably wouldn't have even approached her.
Yeah.
But like but let's say something happens.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's say something happens where you do like you get her right because like that goes back to like y'all really don't understand high earning women because a lot of high earning women are really laid back and some women put family and a relationship so to the front for it, like that like yo. Earning potential or what you earn, not even like the top priority of what they require out of a partner. But let's say you do like get the 100K woman. Mm-hmm. It's like y'all don't do the things to keep her. You know what I'm saying? Like you start focusing on what, like I said, that 70K difference, and you start focusing on like instead of focusing on okay, you know what? Okay, let me make sure I'm her emotional support. Or let me make sure, like, I see she kind of lacking this. Because people think money is the answer to everything, and that overpowers everything, all the negatives that come with a person. So if you feel like there's something that you can help her improve in, why not focus on that versus what you just don't have?
I do, like, I help, like, I help my girl, like, build her business and do all this and do all that.
But you also a confident partner. You're a confident partner to her, though. You a confident partner.
Yeah, it's some days like we be cheering. Like some days she make more money. Like we like how it's competition. Like some days she make more money than me, and I be like, you make more money than me today, and like we be celebrating that because it's like that's the goal.
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
And that's how that like we celebrate that. Like we talking about like on Black Friday, she made like 10,000 in like 3 hours. I'm like. Hold on, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me get my stuff together. Let me sell something. I'm running a sale or something. Like, hold on, you know what I mean? But it's like, I think it does help that I'm secure in who I am, and I think it may sound crazy. It is not necessarily about the money. It's about are you secure in your career field?
Yes.
And are you successful in your career field? Because if you was a teacher, like you said, like you brought that example. Let's say I'm the best teacher in the state or something like that.
Matter. You at most you making 80K, right?
Exactly. I'm the best teacher in the state, but it's really about hierarchy. It's not really about money. It's about the status, hierarchy, stuff like that. So if I'm the best teacher, you know what I mean. The teacher's only gonna cap out so much.
Exactly.
We know that, right? That's not a really income driven career field. But if you the best teacher, I feel like the best teacher could date the best PA or an average PA, and the average PA make twice as much as him. But because he's secure in himself and what he do,
Exactly. That's all most people ask for. It's like, I'm smart enough to know not every job, especially being black, young, not every job you're gonna come out of college making six figures. So if I come out on the dating field like I need a man who need this and got that, that's me just having unrealistic expectations, right? So like,
but I think y'all. I mean, think about it, right? Okay, you making six figures, and this guy's making 30,000 a year.
I mean, like I'm not the type of guy, but see,
like, you ain't doing 30. I thought the money.
See, two things can happen. Two things can be true at one time. Money ain't the first thing, but like if I feel like your income does, like if I gotta start paying for everything, or if I feel like what I typically do, like I traveled all last year, right?
Right.
I traveled all last year. If I feel like dating you now and like I gotta either leave you behind or not go on trips because you can't afford it, that's just not me, my lifestyle.
What I was getting to is the
$70K and $110K.
The guy you probably is going to be attracted to is probably going to make more than you, right? Because of the lifestyle you want to live.
She dated dudes that made less than her, though.
Yeah, I dated dudes who made more than me. I dated dudes who same amount. My current partner, we probably around the same. I make more, but we probably around the same.
Right, to where it don't really matter.
It don't matter.
That much,
you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't date someone where the deficit is so significant that you can literally like you can feel it. You know what I'm saying?
I think you need to be able to live your current lifestyle no matter who you're with. So if you have a partner and they elevate your lifestyle, then great. But if you have a partner where they're not, on the same level as you, then can you live your current lifestyle that you had before them? And if the answer is no, then maybe you need to make some changes. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't date them, but maybe that, that needs to give them a spark to be like, okay, let me do a little bit more or do better.
That's a good point. And that's also on personal preference. Some women are okay with compromising what they currently had or their current lifestyle as a single woman if being married and having a family is like a lot of women are like that, where like, listen, I need a husband. So if it means staying in the house more than I was single, I'm doing that for this man because, like, this is who I want to kind of be with. And that's what I mean by a lot of people, like, money isn't the first thing. I know plenty of women doctors that I work with who husband is at home, like, eating off the check. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if that...
He's like, no.
I'm running some email marketing. I got a podcast. Single dad podcast. I mean, not single dad. Stay-at-home dad podcast.
The life of a bachelor.
Stay-at-home dad podcast.
Clint gonna be at home like, do you,
No, I am. Changing
like,
diapers
what time you get off, babe?
You know, the more we had this conversation, the more I'm thinking maybe this is like a thing you bring up on the first date. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe this does need to be addressed.
Okay, so how do you bring it up?
I don't know about that.
I disagree because, like, sometimes you think that you want something a certain way, but then you, like, I'm all about weighing stuff, like pros and cons of dating this person. If these pros, like, yes, these are things that I had on my list, but, like, he has other pros that, like, I can probably deal with that, like, I prefer to deal with versus the cons. I'm more of an outweigh person. So, like, I firmly believe how you are with one person is totally different how you are with another person.
That's true. I mean, what I'm thinking about here is, like, some people, they do, like, premarital counseling, right? They might sit down with someone who's in that profession. Maybe they sit down with their pastor and just talk about, is this relationship going to work? You need to have pre-marriage financial.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you need multiple people.
But you'd be surprised how hard that is to actually orchestrate, right? Because obviously I talk to hundreds and hundreds of new people a year, right? And if I run into young professionals who are engaged.
Do you do couple counseling? You do that?
I wouldn't call it counseling, right? But let's say I talk to one individual and they're engaged or they're recently married. When I suggest, hey, next time, let's have both of you on a call. It's, oh, well.
Right.
And then it just gets complicated.
They don't talk to you no more.
Right. It's like, wait a minute, I don't understand. You just told me about this future you're going to build with this person. But when I say, let's have a money conversation together it's almost like, why would we do that, right? And you'd be surprised. I mean, I've spoken to people who are in their 60s who know absolutely nothing about what their spouse has going on financially. They had grown kids. They didn't live in the house together, both in working jobs. One don't know if the other contributing to the 401k. One don't know the other credit score.
Wow.
They don't know what's in each other's bank accounts. And I'm just sitting here like, how did you function 40 years in the same house?
They was going off vibes.
And that's what I'm saying, right? That's why this conversation needs to come up early, because people jump into relationships, have kids, get married just off of energy, and we don't address things that are critically important like finances, because it's the main reason that people end up divorced. But we never talked about it. We was her eyes too pretty, right? Honeymoon phase, and next thing you know, we find out we go to get a house and we can't get it because both of our credit in the toilet. But
some people might not agree, but I hear a lot of people that say marriage is a business decision.
100%.
And I 100% agree. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my husband to death, but I need to know what I'm getting myself into, and same for him. So we sat down and we talked about, credit and all of that stuff, but when it got down to like the nitty-gritty, like, all right, what debt do you have? And it's like, all right, we getting, we getting there, but it's like you have to have those conversations so you know what you're getting yourselves into. And I agree, like, it's older people where they're like, I don't know how much my husband has saved, but this is what I have, and it's like, all right, so what's gonna happen for retirement? Like,
no, doing that planning, I was watching this show, and I forgot the name of the show, man. They was the lady didn't want to sign a prenup, right? Because she just felt like, why would I sign a prenup if we love each other, right? So what's that conversation like? Do you, like, if you're not super wealthy, do you even bring that conversation up? As you the one who work with the people with the financial plan, like, so what's that conversation like? Like, is that hard to even bring up, talking about a prenup?
I think that's a tough question, because money is such an emotional topic, right? And then your marriage is so emotional, and it's like we don't want to mix those two. But I mean, it's a necessary conversation to have. Should it be based on, do you earn a high income or not? I don't know, because people who don't make anything, that'll be the main one trying to take something from their partner when they leave, because I never had anything, so let me get his little petty 20,000. But yeah, bro, that's tough. I mean, but that comes down to, people doing things like having wills and trusts and stuff like that, right? You having estate plans and whatnot, and so after you die, or even while you're alive,
you doing a prenup?
I ain't married yet. I got my stuff planned out right now, though.
Oh yeah.
So okay. Well, I ain't talking about the prenup, but
are you gonna do a prenup though? Do you believe in prenups? Because we can't say.
Would you do a prenup if your spouse?
I'm all up. So because we all can agree that marriage is a business, right?
Yes.
So with I'm all about being realistic. Like, I can love you, but I can also understand that 20, 30 years from now, we may divorce. I pay car insurance every month, but I don't get in a car just praying that I get into a car accident. But you still do things in case something happens. So if it came about, I wouldn't get offended if my boyfriend wanted to get a prenup. I wouldn't, because we was gonna have separate. We gonna have joint bank accounts and have separate anyway. So like going back to that individual, like being an individual still in a marriage, like I wouldn't be offended.
Now, so when I get married, this is my plan, right? Okay, so you come into the marriage, you got your bank account. Why you laughing, bro?
Go ahead.
Listen, I think we need 4 bank accounts, right? My personal, her personal, and we need 2 joint. One to save, like to save money, and another one to take care of all the bills and all of that, right? But see, I'm dating an entrepreneur, so we thinking about assets and stuff we want to buy. So I think when we get, like, what you come in with, all right, let's say you come in with the 3 houses like that one girl had or whatever. Okay, that's yours, right?
But I think a prenup already protects that. Like, I think a prenup protects already what you come into marriage with.
That's if they get a prenup, though.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
So
that's what I'm saying. So if you don't even have that, the traditional prenup, now all your assets is on the line and all,
But would you put if I don't never put your name on, like, the properties, like, that's not even I thought the prenup just focuses on dividing the assets you require while you're in the marriage. So if we marry and we buy a house together, yes, that's something we have to discuss on how that's getting split if we was divorced. I wouldn't expect my man to split anything he already came into marriage with.
No, but that's you.
Right.
So it's a lot of people that don't think that way.
You wasn't with me shooting in the gym,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because Janet Jackson said, you ain't write no page of that book when they got divorced. Like, and it gets ugly when it gets divorced because people become vindictive and petty. So they'll know something is your baby and you brought up before you even met them, right? And they'll want a piece of that pie, not even because they truly want it or need it, but because it means I'm taking something from you because you took something from me, and it's I'm not with that.
Yeah, I have to bring this up. You know I got to go here. I only thought about it because of the analogy she just used about car insurance, right? Mm-hmm. How do you feel if your spouse does not want life insurance. They're the breadwinner. Your spouse is the breadwinner.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
They don't want life insurance.
Your spouse is the breadwinner, but they don't want life.
They just think
I don't
like,
care if they don't want life
they
insurance.
just
I mean, I
think-
don't care if they the breadwinner or not. I think, me personally, I think everybody should have like life insurance for estate planning reasons and stuff like that. Like, I mean, even if you don't have kids, you still want to leave something to your grandkids, your like I don't have kids, but I got my policies and all my I got my trust set up to where all my stuff goes to my my nieces and nephews, right? But when I get married, then I'm gonna switch that around and have my wife there if something was to happen to me. But I feel like just because you are single doesn't mean you have to leave liabilities to your family and let it go, let it go away. Like, let's say you got a car payment, you got all this stuff. You need to be able to pay that stuff off, and pay it off
that
with
death certificate. Like, listen, they cannot pay no more.
So how
I'm
I look
talking
at
about
life
married
insurance.
circumstances.
How I
Okay.
look at life insurance is my family needs to be able to live the same lifestyle that they live now.
Correct.
When I'm not here. So even though my husband will be able to afford the lifestyle that we have now without my income, that also means that if I were to die, now you have extra money that you can put in savings. Now you have extra money that you can, give to our daughter. Like, it's other things that go into it. Now, obviously, my situation might be a little bit different because I do have a family. But for me, it's about, for
I'm
me,
about to ask,
it's
did your
about
mindset change around life insurance after you had your daughter and after you got married, or was it always like this?
I've always had that mindset as far as leaving something behind for my family. When I got married, it was like, okay, we both have our life insurance policies. But now it's like, all right, what are we leaving to our daughter? Like, my goal when my daughter graduates from high school, if she goes to college or not go to college, it doesn't matter. But she got money set aside if you want to buy your first house, pay for your first business. Whatever you want to do, you got that money set aside. So I'm thinking about long term for my family, not just for me. So that's why life insurance is important.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't date a girl who wouldn't want life insurance. Like,
I just don't want it right now because I'm like, it's like you. Okay, my thing is, only person I can think about leaving money to is my mom. Right?
What about a charity? What about establishing
Your
continuing
business.
the work that you do
right now
as a PA?
I just don't believe in being. Maybe I watch too much Lifetime movies and IG stuff.
Well, that means you really need it.
No,
Somebody die every
people
lifetime.
literally get killed for a life insurance policy. I don't like the idea of being worth more dead than alive. And it's like you don't think people will be like that until it happens.
But that's why you set up a trust. And when you set up you can
I have other vehicles of like
Here we
what
go.
I'm saving right now. What
Here
people
we go.
like, there's beneficiaries on everything that I have, so they will inherit that anyway. But like right now, I don't have. I'm not focused on making sure my brother get 20,000 if I'm gone, because he can't get 20,000 from me now. So that's not a priority of mine. Now my mindset will change once I'm married and have children, because I brought them in this world and they're my responsibility, dead or gone. I mean, dead or alive. But my cousin TT, I don't care about her having 10K.
your
I hope
cousin
you don't
TT
have a cousin TT. She gonna be listening like, for real.
your
No, I'm
cousin
just
TT
saying,
ain't
like,
got
I
nothing.
don't. Right, she's like, well, now how I get in this? No,
Right.
but like, I'm not. That's not my priority. Like, in terms of in terms of where I'm putting my investments, I'm not focusing.
Well,
on...
see, it's not an investment.
It is an investment.
Life insurance is not an investment.
It's different types of life insurance.
Yeah, it's
But-
not an investment. I'm not looking at life insurance as an investment.
You don't think it's a thing that you're like, it is an investment, because it's like it's building, it's money that you're gonna eventually like pass on to like children, right? Your kids, or like your hair, like your inheritance, right? So to me, that is, if it was an investment, it wouldn't be more.
It's
the
not an
older you
investment.
get.
It's protecting my investments. So okay, I build up this, just because it's protecting my investment doesn't mean it's an investment. I'm building up this $1 million brand, right? Okay, let's say, take me out of it, because I ain't gonna never die. So let's put somebody else.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
It's gonna be a long time. So we talking about 80, 90 years.
Let's say John over here is building up this $50-60 million brand, whatever he got, right? And when he transferred that to his family, he's going to have to pay estate taxes in order to transfer those assets. So when you do that, you can pay the estate taxes with the life insurance, right? So that's how I'm thinking about it. Now,
So is that not an invest? Okay.
no, it's not an investment. It's protecting the investment, because what can happen is, let's say I got a piece of real estate, for example, right? And this real estate is in a prime location, great real estate, but the market's down, right? It's 2008, and somebody passed in 2008. Now they have to pay estate taxes. Now they're forced to sell that asset at a loss or at the bottom of the market to pay those estate taxes when they could have used the life insurance to pay the estate taxes, kept the property, and 10 years later, that family still has that house and that asset, and they wasn't forced to sell it to pay the estate tax.
I have a question. Have y'all ever seen how family act when people leave stuff?
But that's why that's why
y'all
you
see
leave.
how people act?
That's why you have a trust. When you have a trust, you dictate what the money goes
You're
toward.
dead. So you
No. So
No,
if
no,
you
no,
have
no.
a trust, you literally put in there who the money goes to, when it goes to them, and everything else.
You can
Right,
say
right.
my
So-
cousin, you can say my auntie or my niece or my nephew don't get this money until they 30.
Exactly. I've seen family members who sold everything after grandpa died. Like
That's because he
that,
ain't have a trust.
But I'm just saying, like,
That's because granddad ain't have a trust.
and maybe because, like I said, I study psychology. Like people, like we can have hopes of how people are going to act. Like even your own kids, like it's people who celebrities, they kids acting up with money. Muhammad Ali's son said something wild, and I'm like, bro, like.
So here's the thing, though, right? Because this comes back to just family generational wealth planning. Like, I anticipate that Andrea and her husband will raise their daughter to understand the basic fundamentals, budgeting, saving, and investing. She's going to be well versed on those things by the time she's an adult. So let's say she's 50 by the time she inherits her parents' assets. Her thought process isn't going to be, let me go act ignorant with this money, because she grew up her entire life being raised by financially savvy parents, and she understands how these things work. So their family dynamic isn't going to be,
I
I'm
totally
going to do
agree
something
with that,
petty
but that's
and big.
not a guarantee, though.
It's not.
It's
but
not a
my thing
guarantee,
is,
but
if
you
I'm
can
dead
train
and you just
and educate.
inherited a couple $1 million and you want to go blow it, that's on you, because I'm
Right,
not
that's
here to see it.
exactly.
But realistically, the way that I plan on raising my child, she understands, like, okay, mommy saving money, daddy saving money, we're doing all of these different things, but we still can live and do everything else. So when she gets old enough where she can, like, completely understand it, it's all going to make sense to her, and she'll more than likely have a similar.
I mean,
life.
That's
put
a
your-
key word, though. More than likely, like we can always do things like this. Y'all, like, why we acting like celebrity kid? Like y'all,
What's-
act like
see,
That don't mean
celebrities.
they
Here's
know
the
anything
thing.
about
They don't
money.
mean they don't mean they financially
Just 'cause they
literate.
have a lot
Muhammad
of
Ali
money.
wasn't the most savvy person financially.
But I'm just saying though, like that but it's still showing like there's no guarantee.
But high
There's,
earner
like,
does not mean high saver. High
Oh,
earner does not
High
mean
earner don't
like,
mean high financial literacy
Yeah,
either.
a lot of those people, they have all of these different people that are over their finances, and they don't even know what's
They
going
have no
on.
idea.
So
I
here's the
agree.
thing: the reason Muhammad Ali is Muhammad Ali, or let's just take
His
Muhammad
talent.
Ali out of it, right? The reason these athletes the reason they made it to the NFL is the
Good
reason
talent.
a lot of them are financially illiterate, because they spent so much of their youth studying football, studying basketball, right? Studying soccer or whatever they're good at. And they got those 10,000 hours in. So when they're 21, they're ready to go to the league. When they're 19, 17, they're ready to go to the league. If you flip that around, if you've been studying finances or budgeting and all that when you was 6 with your allowance, and now you're 18, 19, you would be ready to handle getting $10,000 or $100,000 or whatever, right? You would be ready for that. But a lot of times we never, like, our mind is a muscle, right? So if we never, strengthen the financial literacy part of our mind, then it's never going to, we're never going to be ready to receive any money. Just the same amount of work we put in as an athlete, or to become a PA or become whatever, or financial, that same energy can go towards becoming financially literate, so those things won't happen.
I've
agree.
just seen a lot of people like get homes left to them. They either don't pay the taxes on it, and like obviously I can't say how they were brought up, right? But like I've just seen where grandparents and parents have done a lot of work
Can
to
I
build
say
that,
this?
and like the kids don't do right.
Can
by
I
it.
say this? Okay.
But I'm not saying I won't do the same
No,
thing.
people
but
lose homes because of taxes and stuff like that. Well, you can put in the trust. The money in the trust pays the taxes on this house, so it never
True.
will get
I think
lost.
sometimes people don't know. So, like, when you say about people losing houses, stuff like that, it's like, oh, I got this house. But they never knew, like, oh, I have to pay taxes or I have to keep the house
real.
up or, it's going to, get condemned to different
But
stuff.
I definitely seen people who like just get big eyed at I dated a guy who was arguing with his basically his like sister side of the family, like, don't sell this house, like don't like this house just got left to y'all, like, look. And then he watched a white old man buy it for, like, they got big because it was like offered in cash, right?
Yeah.
They got big eyed at that. And then like, but I don't want people to think that I don't believe in leaving stuff for my children. I'm just saying right now, as a single woman, not married, with no children, if I have extra money at the end of the month, which people our age and our race don't typically have, right? Like, we got to admit that we are unicorns in our demographic, right?
Okay.
So if I have $300 to spare, I'm putting that towards something like a Roth. I'm sorry. That's just what I'm saying. That's just not the fourth. Now, when I start getting married and like there's a second income and there's more discretionary income to work with, then okay, when the kid, that's a different mindset.
I think kids will learn from whatever you teach them. Like, my daughter knows I'm a realtor.
10,000%.
Yeah, my daughter knows I'm a realtor. So she's like, oh, what you about to go do, Mommy? You about to go show houses. When I closed on my first investment property, my daughter literally was sitting right next to me. And she's like, oh, your client is closing? Like, no, we're closing on this house. Like, so no, but seriously, I'm teaching her. So she's like, oh, when are we going to this house? And I'm like, no, we're not living here, but we're about to flip it. So I'm teaching her young. So when she gets older, she knows what all this stuff is. I think it all comes down to what you are taught and what you want to learn.
Education, 100%.
Want to learn is things we can't control,
I agree.
though, because Dwayne Wade got 2 kids, one about to be in the NBA, and one is a lot of political issues on like transgender and things like that. They raised in the same household in 2 different completely people. So all I'm saying is,
I
don't
think
expect
that's a
that
bad
guarantee.
example because
That's not
both of them can
That's
be
totally
financially
different,
literate.
I think
No,
it
we're
all
not talking
comes
about
down
finances.
to
I'm just talking about we was talking about like she's
what
in
they
a
want
career.
to
Whatever you
Yeah.
educate your child on is what they're gonna know, though. So if you grow up in
He
a
can know
house
about
speaking
she can
3
know about
languages,
basketball still.
right? But if you grow up in a house speaking 3 languages, your kids just gonna be trilingual because that's what they're hearing, that's what they're learning, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing happens for finances. If I grow up speaking finance in the house and I teach my child right along with his 7th grade curriculum about periodic table of elements, if I'm teaching him what asset classes are, he's going to understand that just as well. So there's no reason that my family fumbles the bag if I am very intentional.
I guess I just don't. I can't just deal. I don't think there's nothing absolute in this life but the fact that we die, right? Like, yes, you can teach like people all the time. I grew up loving basketball. My sister was state player of the year, but then she hated it in college. Like it turned her off to it because it was just so consumed in her adolescent years. People like you can teach people. Your kids can know all of that, but the part that you said, the take to it, like you can't guarantee that.
I think you're looking at the
money,
negative, all the things that will go wrong.
I'm not looking at what's going. I'm just
I think you're not
acknowledging.
considering the things that could possibly go right.
But I think money is something that we're always going to need. You're always going to need some type of currency to be able to live. So I think understanding it and understanding how to use it, understanding how to make it, understanding how to save it is always going to be something that people need to know. So I think as far as like teaching your children from when they're young, they're always going to use that, whether they know it or not.
So I think I listen to a lot of money podcasts, and this is a good, like, the reason why I also feel strongly about this, because a lot of people now are moving from leaving something when I die to letting my kids spend this, like leaving nothing when I die, meaning like it's no point in, because think about it, the average, like we die probably in our 80s, right? If we have kids maybe in our 20s, 30s, they're going to be 50, 60. What is the point of waiting till they age 60 to give them $70,000 or $200,000? Like that probably would have been useful when they were 35, 40. So if they're 35, 40, we're probably like 60, 65, nowhere near retirement or, whatever. So a lot of, I forgot what to call, I think it's called FIRE now, but like a lot of money gurus are moving towards not leaving something, like not focusing on like afterlife, but focusing on like giving them a down payment on their house.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
and
I
spending
agree
it
with
all.
that 100%. Like,
So
I told
like,
y'all.
and I think that's why I'm like, I'm not really focused on like what they're gonna do when I'm not gone. Like I'm focused on
okay, let's look at it.
Like I'd rather their house paid off when I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? Or like I don't gotta worry about them, messing up on paying the state taxes because I'm 62 and they're 42, and like I'm already around to still kind of leave that impression.
So what should they do if they have $500,000 in estate taxes? Like if somebody, what should a family do? Let's take ourselves out of it. But like a family,
we got to think about the unicorn of that. What's the likelihood of you leaving somebody with state tax of $500,000?
For me, or are you just saying just
like
she said,
people?
take ourselves out of it.
Well, another thing that $500,000 could be, it could be taxes, it could be a mortgage. A $500,000 mortgage is a lot more reasonable than $500,000 in taxes.
So $500,000 mortgage by the time
that's a $500,000. You know, that's like a.
But do you think
$600,000-$700,000 house?
Like obviously take the unexpected deaths, but like you think by the time you 87.
You never know. You might have an 85-year-old that's like,
I mean, there's people with reverse mortgages and all type of crazy stuff that's go on that need to get paid when
I don't think I'm leaving like a $500,000 mortgage.
You never know, but I do partially agree with you on leaving your kids something when you're alive. So 100%. Like I plan on my daughter, like I said, when she graduates from high school, she'll have 6 figures. But when I die, she's going to be a millionaire from money that she got from me, not money that she earned on her own from whatever she plans to do. So I think you should do both, at least for my family.
Again, I'm not saying I would never get life insurance. I'm just saying the like where I'm at right now, that's not the forefront of my priorities.
That's fair.
I have a 401k, I have a Roth IRA, I have other vehicles to make my money grow with me. So once I have a kid, then I do have to factor that in. And I think a lot of people fail when they take advice from people like Dave Ramsey and Gary, I forgot his name. They don't consider, okay, this is a white middle-aged man. Mm-hmm. What are things, like for me, like taking advice from, like we have different mindsets, but we also in different parts of our lives. You're married, you're a mom. I'm a single one, like millennial, you know what I mean? So when I listen to people's advice, I'm like, I agree with you. I can see why you have that point of view, but that's just not mine because I'm not where you are.
Same, because I feel like when I was single before I had a family and everything, I'm like, yeah, I understand, like, what I need that for? But then as I got a little bit older too, I'm like, dang. I'm not disagreeing with. I have a bad thing of like letting people feel like I disagree. I don't disagree with y'all. I'm just saying that's not my number one for me.
So one thing we always talk about is a big thing in our community is not being able to see around corners, right? So the conversation that we're having right now,
Gary V, that's his name.
We don't. Okay, yeah, we don't.
I can't stand him.
I don't think we're disagreeing, but what I'm saying, and I think what Cliff is saying is being able to see around that corner. You get the life insurance now because it's more affordable and you want to lock in that right now. And me personally, I have term insurance and that's all I need because I'm with you on that. I don't need it as an investment vehicle because I can put that same money in my business or the S&P 500, whatever, right, and get a good return. Okay, we agreed on that. I'm just thinking about seeing around the corners. Yes, I don't have kids, but I'm working every day to build something. Because eventually I know me and my spouse want kids. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't want to prepare for kids when I have them. I want to prepare for kids when I'm, 26, 27. And when I'm 30 and I want to have kids, they come in the world prepared and not as like an accident and now I got to scramble and try to get everything going.
But see, I feel like I'm doing that already with like a Roth and a 401k.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
But even before I had my daughter, I had Roth, I had the 401k, we had the mutual funds. And then the only thing that changed when we had our daughter is we got life insurance on her as well. Now, obviously, we don't plan on anything ever happening, but you literally never know. So I think like life insurance is something that people don't want to talk about, or even finances is something people don't want to talk about because it's like taboo. We're not supposed to talk about it. You just live life. But I think those are conversations that you have up front and just to understand it.
I just think it's a mindset thing. Like my mom is currently my beneficiary on everything, but like I'm not really. I know. I love my brother to death, but I'm not really interested in making sure he got $40,000 when I'm gone. That's just he can't get $40,000 from me now. So like it's just like that's not something. If I had to pick a bill or a thing to budget out of my income, that's just something I'm not interested in doing. Especially when I feel like I'm already doing a thing. Because who never like I want kids, but like what if I don't have them? Like that's not really.
So if you never have kids, you'll never get life insurance.
Probably not. Probably not.
What about if you have a spouse?
That'll be something we have to
took
consider.
Too long. Took too long.
But she's like, I never thought about that.
To answer my question,
But no, that
would you marry a person that didn't want life insurance?
That'd be something like
absolutely not for me. It's a no-go.
but the realism in things is like when people get ugly, when money is ugly too, right? You said money was emotional and sensitive. People do weird things, crazy things for money. Spouses like get killed for life insurance
But
policy.
you also realize that no one even has to know that you have life insurance.
And you also realize that
or how much
if the life insurance policy isn't going to pay out if there's any funny business with the beneficiary being
that
involved
still doesn't
in a
stop
murder.
it from happening though. And maybe I'll just watch too much of the ID channel, but like half the time that is the reason.
You need to stop
That
watching.
is the reason.
Cut the money podcast back on.
But you know
Cut
what?
Lifetime
The thing
on.
is, okay, so you have money in your 401k, Roth, and all of that stuff. It doesn't change. Your spouse could still try to kill you to get that money.
Right.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, because
but
they
like,
inherit
I
that
ain't-
money. Yeah.
That is true. But then at that point, it's like, I mean,
Well,
he was gonna do it anyway. Then at that point,
Exactly. So they gonna kill you for the life insurance. They gonna kill you for, like, you hear about people doing crazy stuff for way less.
all I'm saying is money goals change as your life situation change, and I just feel like, I understand where y'all coming from, but like y'all gotta understand what my stance is, because it's like that's just not important to me. Like I'm not interested in leaving somebody who can't get $60K from me now when I'm dead.
Well, I mean, my niece can't get $60,000 from me right now. She's 4. She probably can't get $60,000 from me when she's 18, just in cash. Just, hey, I want $60,000. But it's like, again, I'm seeing around the corners. I want the people that I love to benefit from my life and my death.
But we also too, guys, we got like even with me knowing I'm a like 6-figure earner, I understand that it's number wise, it's not the likelihood of us all 4 people young, making a lot of money. This isn't this is not a common household. So if a person came to me and says, Jasmine, I have 100 extra after I paid all my bills and whatever, I have $100 left to pick something to go into, I'm not picking life insurance for them to like put that $100 towards. So we also got to remember the advice you're giving. You have the luxury of having multiple. So okay, think about this: if you had to pick one vehicle to make. I know you don't consider life insurance an investment, but if you had one thing to put your extra income from, because you give advice or you're speaking from a point where you can move your money in multiple ways, so you have the luxury of that choice. But if you don't have the luxury of the choice, which most of us our age and our race don't have, if you had to pick one thing to put your money towards, what would you do? What would you put it towards?
I'll put it towards a business, like starting a business.
I'm talking about as far as saving and like leaving something for anybody. What would you pick?
If I wanted to guarantee that my beneficiaries was wealthier or had some type of money,
you would pick life insurance
for me passing away.
Anything to when you talk about leaving something for somebody, you can't pick a business. I'm talking about like when you pass away, they get some money. What would you put that $100 towards?
I'll buy life insurance.
You put it towards life insurance?
Yeah, I personally would buy life insurance because it's like, I mean, they're guaranteed to make. If we're basically guaranteeing that this person is going to pass during this term of life insurance, and you either got okay, let's say somebody is going to pass at 60, right? You're going to pass at 60. Right now you're 20, and over the next 40 years you got to build something up in order to guarantee that your son or your daughter inherits $1 million. I think it's a no-brainer.
So
life insurance would be.
Same for you, Cliff? You would pick life insurance if you had to choose
I mean,
one thing?
I couldn't
that's
start
the reality
I
for
said
most
start a
people.
business, but
one thing
that's hard.
That's
to leave a legacy with.
And that's what I'm saying. When we speak, we also got to realize we speak from a place of like, a few more privileges that the average person.
We just speak from a place of
have.
knowledge. I don't know if I'll call it a privilege. It's just knowledge,
because the same life insurance that I could afford.
Knowledge that's a privilege, though. To be able to understand money and finances is a privilege.
The amount of life insurance that I could afford making $40,000 and me making the amount of money I make today is the same. Like I still got the same amount. It's not like as my income increases, I'm about to just go get $100 million in life insurance because I made $100 million. It's like we're talking about $40 or $50 a month here. So it's not really that big of a deal financially to me to just pay it up in full.
But you see how you saying that? It's not a big, like $50 a month. That's a big.
I don't think it's a big deal, even for somebody that's broke, because they spend that at Chick-fil-A. Like they spend that same money.
I think again, when we think about the numbers, you just said the average 2-person household makes 60K.
But
60,000
also
Yeah.
think about the fact that most people work a W-2 job. Most of these W-2 jobs offer life insurance at a it's super discounted. So they can just only have that life insurance policy and nothing else, and at least they have a couple dollars to leave to their family when they die.
Yeah.
So I feel like they don't necessarily have to go out and get an additional policy, if they
That's
can
fair.
afford it.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I think it's just like a base level of money or a policy you need, and then after that, I really don't think you need to just keep throwing all your money in that. It's other things that I personally would do with my money, but I mean, I'm talking about $50, $60 a month or whatever. I'm just throwing random numbers out, but I don't think that is enough money to even sit here and have a hour-long conversation about it. It's
You're
like
right, you're right, but-
it's
but-
like $60, and I'm saying that. I guess I am saying it from a place of privilege.
Yes.
But however,
There are people
it's
in
not
this
like I
world.
don't come from where people listen. When I grew up, people were spending $60 a day on lotteries, $60 a day on beer. Right, so it's like,
But
you
then
got
they were
$60
behind on
a
rent
month.
or something
$60
like that.
a week on cigarettes. Like people
Exactly.
spend
So-
what they want to spend.
They-
So people got the
do.
money.
They-
I don't care how much something costs. It's not about the cost. It's about priorities. People don't have priorities. People have money. Everybody got
So
enough
this is
money.
the part where me and Cliff always get into it, because I think a lot of people who make a lot of money start putting blame on. I look at the bigger picture. A lot of poverty is systemic. It's not personal. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't stand when people say like, "Oh, you not where you want to be because you spent $100 on these Air Forces, bro." I'm telling you, if I would have said $100, it wouldn't have made a difference. I'm telling you that now.
I think it would have made a difference if you would have said, instead of buying these Air Forces, I'm going to buy these other shoes. Instead of buying these $100 Air Forces, I'm going to buy, or I'm not going to buy them, and I'm going to use
I
that
think
money
we
to buy
get-
an insurance policy
I think
or
we-
invest in a course or invest in something else. I think that person could better their life by making those decisions.
Listen, you can't budget your way out of a job offering you $40,000 a year, and the degree that was required to get this job took 70. Like I think we take too much responsibility off employers, capitalism, systemic racism, institutional racism. Like I'm not gonna say y'all, but when people put the blame back on the individual, I think that's so unfair. And it totally
But I think-
ignores the real problems.
I
in
think-
I
this
think
I think-
world.
sometimes people need
Go
a
ahead.
mindset shift where they think because that's what all they knew, that's how they grew up, that's how things have to be. Or okay, I'm making 40,000 right now, and it cost me 70 or 80,000 to get this degree. Okay, that's where you are right now, but where do you want to be, and what are you doing to get there? I think if you focus on being 1% better than a person that you were the day before, you can get a lot further in life than being upset at where you are right
But
now.
earlier today, he mentioned you can be the best teacher and cap out at 80K.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like
80,000 is well more than enough
That
to have
is,
a great
but-
life.
but
Because
if-
that's like that's top 20% earners.
why is $80,000 top
Okay,
20%?
but let's say you're a teacher, you're making 80K, but now you are going to go and you have a side business or doing something else on the side where you're doing consulting or different stuff like that. And maybe you don't want to be a teacher all your life, or maybe you do because that's what you love, but you find a different way to teach. So I don't think you necessarily have to always stay. I think especially for like the older generation, they would go to one job and they stay there until they retire. For
That's
a lot
true.
of younger people, a lot more people job hop, but I think it all comes down to what are you doing right now and what are you doing to better yourself. And
So-
it doesn't
And I
necessarily
also
have
think-
to
I
be.
also think we
that
have
it's
a different
fair
perspective
Do y'all
be-
think it's fair that a person to get where they want to be, they gotta have like this side hustle mindset? Do y'all think that's fair?
I honestly, I don't think anybody in
that's
America, I don't
bold.
care what you're doing, working 40 hours a week. I don't care if you're I don't believe people are, what's that called? I don't think people are fairly paid. Nobody's never
Right.
fairly paid.
Yeah.
You either underpaid or overpaid. I don't believe in a fair wage.
Oh.
I don't believe companies are, there's nothing
and
Facebook,
who's
listen,
underpaid and who's always overpaid?
Listen, there's nothing, you can't put a value on the engineers that actually built Facebook. They're worth the whole company. You see what I mean? So you gotta underpay them. Yeah, they paid them $300,000 a year, but they should get $3 million a year. And then if they get $3 million a year, Facebook's still worth $1 billion. So now it's like, no matter the amount you pay somebody in a salary, the reality is you're either going to be overpaid, like the CEOs are well overpaid. and
Right.
the engineers that's building the product are underpaid, there's never like you either going to have to own something and get paid that way. But I think we coming from a different perspective because like I built, I'm building something, right? So it's like it's different when you're building something. And I came from poverty. I lost my mom at 4. I was adopted. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm from the east side of Detroit. I grew up with my grandma. Like real poverty. Like I slept on the couch in high school. Like because my basement flooded. We didn't have enough money to, you know what I'm saying, to take care of that. Like that's real. That's the poverty. Obviously, it's people who doing worse than that. It's some people who ain't have a crib. So it's like, well, you privileged to have a couch, right? So we always can have that perspective. But it's like, I honestly think no matter the situation I grew up in, I was going to be, and I was going to better my situation because of the type of person I am. I think it's like, it's born. I don't think I can, like, like even if I was working at a job, I would always try to be the best person I wanted to be, and that's just who I am. And I'm always going to rise to the top no matter what. That's just how I feel.
That's
no
your
matter.
mindset
That's
as
my
well.
mindset,
Yeah.
right? And it's like,
But I still feel like that's still adopting the grab yourself by the bootstraps. Like, I'm the same way. I grew up in Flint, Michigan, right? Single parent. She raised 4 kids, really pretty much on her own. I graduated high school with 3 degrees, went off to Central, graduated summa cum laude, full ride, went straight off to PA school.
Right.
27 years old, like kind of like in my career, right?
right.
But I still don't look at everybody from Flint from my same high school that says, well, since I did it, you should have too. And I also don't look at a Kroger, somebody who work at Kroger, right? And say, well, since you only make $12 an hour, you're not really aspiring to be anything else.
Oh, no,
I don't
I
think
know
you
for
look
sure
at people
because-
that make less and say like, "Oh, you're doing worse than me," or "You need to do better." Like my thing is, not everybody cares about money.
You're
Like
right.
everybody's happiness is different. So I don't look at people that might make less than me than as less than, or people that make more than me like, "Oh, you think you better off." As long as I'm happy where I am in my life, I'm not comparing to anyone else.
So do y'all think though poverty is? Do y'all think that's?
Oh, it's
more like-
100% systemic.
But so when if it's 100% systemic, why when you say a person got $100, right, and they want to buy it on a pair of shoes, right? Why do you think why does it go back to like that's a personal issue versus like a systemic issue?
Well, my thing is, I mean, just take me for example. If I'm having a one-on-one conversation with somebody and they need to hear something that's going to motivate them to start spending $100 on investing in themselves versus on gym shoes, in that conversation, I might be able to tell them something that helps them change their life. I can't change the system in that one conversation, though. That takes generations. That takes a lot. That takes a whole community.
We might not even see that
outside
in our
of,
lifetime.
And that's my point. But I can talk to 500 people a year, and 100 of them take my advice, and now that's 100 people who change their lives, and now they're going to go impact a couple of their friends. And before you know it, my impact that way has spread out so large to maybe we can eventually take over the system that way. So it's more effective for me to tell this guy, hey, don't buy the gym shoes, buy this. It makes sense for me to focus on that one-on-one conversation and help build that individual, because I can't go attack the system that's been in place for 500 years.
But if you understand, if you say you can't attack a system, right? If you understand that, you also will understand why someone would just decide to buy shoes.
I understand why they do it, but that's why I'm
it's
talking
I
about
feel
it.
like people have there's consequences for what you do, right? So if I tell you, if I come to your school and I tell you, listen, this is what an asset is, this is what a liability is, right? Here's $100. You can go buy those shoes or you can go buy that book, right? And if that child or that 18-year-old or whatever decides to go buy those shoes, I don't think that's a bad decision on his part. He just got to live with the consequences of I'm deciding to buy these shoes versus buying this book. Now, he might buy those shoes and realize that, wow, Clift, that guy that came and spoke to me at that school, he was right because I ain't getting no value out of these shoes and I'm struggling. Okay, now he has another decision to make. He's going to get another $100. Okay, are you going to buy that next pair of shoes, or are you going to buy that book or something to actually increase your skill set so you can earn more money and buy both of them?
Well,
right?
it depends on how many times you're going to give me that $100. Because if you're going to keep doing it, then...
No, I'm just saying, like, you're going to get another opportunity. I ain't giving it to him, but you know what I'm saying? Somebody else going to, you know what I'm saying, get that opportunity.
Like, when I reflect on stuff, like, earlier today we were talking about, like, the trade lines and stuff like that, right? Like, I just think about how systemically, like when me and Cliff used to have conversations, he would talk about life insurance. Like, why is life insurance? Why is one aspect of it car insurance? Why is the biggest factor in determining a person's rate is the credit score? Is that not systemic racism? Because now,
100%.
so now a low credit score, I'm going to give you a higher premium on your credit based on your credit. What does that have to do with my ability to drive? They look at what they look at is, okay, they live in a dangerous neighborhood. They live in a, like they car isn't the best. So like, why do you see how all this is intertwined to the point where I cannot blame an individual.
But coming from a life insurance, not life insurance, from a car insurance perspective,
it's racist.
I
know
have to charge you more if cars, let's say you got a Hellcats and all that are getting stole every single day in the city of Detroit. Right, so if you decide to buy a Hellcat, I literally have to charge you in order
based on my credit score, or not? You talk about the quality of the car, or the type of car. Why is credit score?
I'm talking about just being based on being in Detroit in general.
And we know that's like Detroit is the blackest city in the country.
People will steal cars anywhere. So.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's all like when it's so intertwined like that. I fail to blame the individual. I can't.
It never systemic. It's not about blaming the individual. It's about helping fix it. Can I finish mine?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's not about blaming the individual. It's about fixing the individual, right? I'm gonna give you an example. You right. The credit score check for car insurance, for life insurance, I believe is predatory. We can't fix it, though, but since we know that's the case, guess what? This married couple is going to raise a daughter who understands credit. Her credit going to be A1 by the time she's 18, so now she's not worried about paying extra money for car insurance because her credit is jacked up. So if she knows that as a parent, why not just set my child up to never have to be subjected to that?
But not even just as a parent. So what I would say is when I learn stuff, I tell my friends, I tell my family. So anything that I learn, especially when it comes to like making somebody better, I'm going to tell other people. And that's what we should all be doing. Because at the end of the day, if we're all helping each other, we're all going to help pull each other up by the bootstraps to help each other win. Instead of, I got this secret and I'm going to hold it near and dear to my heart.
I agree with that. But all I'm saying is, and I'm not saying money is the answer to everything, but a lot of the issues is people just don't have the capital, and we're comparing ourselves to people who had a 400-year head start. And I just me and Cliff got into it because he. So I just say this one little story, and then I want to go back to like the Married to Money. Me and Cliff got into it because he used to always talk about how people spent their stimulus check money, right?
Right.
And I hate this whole trope of like, wealthy people don't wear their money and wealthy people don't
That's
spend.
incorrect.
It's so incorrect. Well, I'm not saying you said that, but he kind of spoke to like, it's crazy how y'all at the Louis Vuitton store with y'all stimulus. It's $1,200. Like, and then the thing about it is the boat people ain't talk about the boat shops getting bought out, right?
The who?
Boat shops. Like when I was working in Lake Orion around that time when like the stimulus checks first started dropping. Mm-hmm. That owner said, bro, this was the best season I ever had. Every white person came and bought a boat, a jet ski, added on something extra. And it's like, we don't ever, when we talk about irresponsibly spending, we don't ever talk, we always just focus on ours. You know what I'm saying? I firmly believe when we talk about a system where you just said you can't really change like that, is we won't see it in a lifetime. Then why do y'all expect $1,200 to change something?
$1,200 can for sure change somebody's life.
But I also think it's a lot of black people that got that money and they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna do something good with it." Like I closed more deals last year than I ever had before, and I plan on more than doubling it this year because more people are getting more financially literate, where it's like, okay, I understand that this extra $1,200 or whatever extra money that they're getting, maybe I'll put that aside for something that I can actually, build wealth with instead of me going to the stores and buying stuff. So
I promise you $1,200. I'm about to give you. I'm about to give you a.
What do $1,200?
I'm about to give you a business plan.
That is a rent payment. That's not even paying somebody's rent.
I'm about to listen. If you watching this and you 18 and you got $1,200, I'm about to give you a business plan.
And that's another thing. How long does the average business in America last? Small business.
What, like 2 to 3 years, something like that. But no, listen to this. Let me tell you what I would do with my $1,200 if I was 18.
Okay.
All right.
I'm excited.
Here's what I would do. I'm going to Home Depot, and I'm going to try to apply for a credit card, right? If I get denied, I'm going to use, because more than likely I am.
Systemic.
More than likely I am.
Because you a black man, black man,
I ain't got no credit. Exactly.
And your parents didn't get you no inheritance.
More than likely, I am going to get denied. I'm buying a shovel, I'm buying gloves, and I'm buying if I'm staying in Detroit, and I'm buying a snowblower. And I'm literally walking up the block, knocking on everybody's door saying, hey, I'll shovel your snow for this. I did this when I was young. This is how it's like. My parents ain't been giving me money since I can't even remember the last time my dad ever gave me money. So I did this literally when I was younger. Walked around, knocked on the door, I shoveled snow, cut grass, did everything. Nobody never told me to do that. I just wanted money, so I went and did it. And if I wanted to do that, I could literally make $100 a day is $30,000 a year. I believe. I think it's 30. Yeah, it's around $30,000 a year. $100 a day, because $275 a day.
Yeah, that's $33,000.
Yeah, is $100,000.
Like 33.
I believe I can make $100 a day shoveling snow. I believe. I just believe everybody with energy can make $100 a day. All right. I believe if you can make $100, you can make $200. So now we talking about $66,000 a year, right? You shoveling snow, cutting grass. You got a landscaping company. That's not that hard, and you can do all of that with $1,200. You don't even need an LLC. You don't need nothing.
Okay. I give you that. You got the hustle, but you also assuming the person know how to do that, right? Like, what if I'm a girl? You think I'm about to shovel snow?
You can buy some curling irons and do hair in your living room.
I know how to do hair.
You can learn to do something. You know how to do something. You know how to do something because you're going to go get a job somewhere.
You can babysit.
And get trained to do
I want y'all
something.
to know I'm not taking accountability off people. But I now that I've moved 2 to 3 different social classes, 2 months ago my laptop got stolen out my car. Totally my fault. I'm taking the accountability. I went to Best Buy, got a laptop because I got a credit card with them. Every card member has, like, they always got a deal. So I happened to walk in there when they had 18 months interest free. I got a new laptop within 2 hours and paying $30 a month on it.
Right.
Once you reach, once credit is established, life becomes easier. When, I got a 2019 car, and my car payment is $250 because my credit's so good. Once you reach, first of all, it's hard to get to this point, but once you get to that point, the system makes it so much easier to afford life. And I'm not saying, again, y'all not wrong. I'm not saying y'all wrong at all. I'm just saying I want us to realize that I know the process of getting here. Everybody don't want to go into medicine, right? Everybody ain't going to graduate with degrees like that. I know my privileges, and I just still want to recognize that there's things in place that prevent people from getting to this point. You know what I'm saying? Somebody with bad credit, they laptop got stolen, but they job depended on having a personal computer, and they don't have $1,200 to up front real quick in 2 hours. They gotta get paid on interest. You know what I'm saying? It's expensive to be poor. That's all I'm saying. It is expensive to be poor, and it's so I don't think I pay nothing in full right now. I've never paid interest in my life in anything, and it's because granted that was all my thing, all my work, but I also realized I've had things that most people don't have to get me to that point.
So how did you learn about credit and all of that at such a young age?
I taught myself.
Okay.
I taught myself.
So how come anyone else can't?
Can't do it.
But listen,
we gotta wrap up.
I just told you I graduated summa cum laude. The average person don't got a 4.0.
So it's like internal.
It's just because you wanted to learn.
Yeah.
But it's all. I just no. I know. First of all,
You can teach yourself anything.
Why y'all saying that? That's
Why-
so obtuse.
Why
That
are
is
you
so
belittling
obtuse.
somebody's potential?
I'm not belittling somebody's
Yes, you're
potential.
making it seem like people aren't capable of reading a book.
But what is the average person's reading level?
Eighth grade.
No, it's not.
No,
it's third
it's,
grade.
no, it's third. You know, it's like
third.
it's like fifth or sixth grade.
I'm just saying I'm not obtuse to the real life issues, and it's systemic, right? Why is the average person have a third grade reading level? Think about all the finance books that you read. It took me a long time. First of all, it took me a long time to get into it because it was intimidating. I'm like, bro, I'm looking up every word mean, right? The reason why people don't like talking about finances because it's a hard concept. Nobody, first of all, wants to be a part of a conversation they don't understand or they don't have experience in, right? So that's already intimidating to kind of even jumpstart in. So it took me it wasn't easy for me to do, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also I also understand the average person can't even fill out a job application on their own. So, like, how would you expect, why would I blame them for not being able to read a book or teach themselves finances when they can't even apply for a job?
It's not about blame, Jasmine. No one sitting here saying, I blame you because you can't read.
That's fair.
But here's the thing. We keep talking about a system as if it's some magical external force that came from a different dimension that we have no control over. A system is created by people. Correct?
A system.
Exactly. A system is created by people, right? So who's going to continue to run the system? People. But if we're changing the people around us right now and we continue to change the people in the next generation, eventually those people are going to be running the system. So it might look a little bit different at some point.
Hey, man.
Am I making sense?
We need more conversations like this. This is a beautiful conversation, man.
I'm sorry.
Every time I come to the D,
I don't want people to be like, this bitch don't know what she's talking. No, I want people to understand, like, when I debate things, it's not like I disagreed or like agree with y'all at all. It was just like I want us to like at least acknowledge. When I state stuff, it doesn't mean like I agree with it. It just means I want us to acknowledge it. So you're right. Blaming is not the blame, but I just want us to look at it's not just one person while they're in a predicament. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just want you to know that she just told me I'm right. Write that down. That's on camera.
Married to the Money podcast. Hey, this is the first time. This is the first one. We're gonna have plenty more. I appreciate you guys for coming on. Hey man, we gotta have some more of these. I'm gonna be back in the D, so we gotta have some more of these.
My bad, because I get passionate and shit. Sorry.
Hey, I'm passionate about money too, so let's get it.